Dunkleosteus, the fifth deadliest predator by Colton. After an underwater explosion. 2. Prehistoric Dunkleosteus come from the hole, then start wreaking havoc on the surface and disturb or beach party. Will anything be able to stop these prehistoric creatures? Ohio. A lake appears. A boat appears driving. Number 1 and number 2 appear. Alright, over there. That's the spot, said man. Number 1. The boat stops, then turns off. Number 2 pulls out a fishing pole, then throws the line. The water splashes. Number 2 sits in a chair. Number 1 opens a cooler. Want a beer? Asked number 1. Sure. Number 1 hands a beer to number 2. Number 2 opens his beer, then takes a drink. Number 1 opens the door, then pulls out a stick of dynamite. What the hell, man? Asked number 2. What? I don't want to wait that long for a fish, said number 1, lighting the stick of dynamite, then throws it into the water. The stick of dynamite explodes. The water splashes up. Fish carcasses appear floating in the water. Great, it's only what, 2, 3 fish, said number 2. Wait and see. Number 1 grabs another stick of dynamite, then lights it. Stop that, said number 2. Number 1 throws the stick of dynamite. The second stick dynamite lands onto the water, then explodes. Woohoo! Did you see that? Gonna eat well tonight, said number 1. Alright, no more dynamite, said number 2. Number 1, laughing, grabs a third stick of dynamite, then lights it. Fire in the hole, said number 1, throwing the third stick of dynamite. The third stick of dynamite lands into the water, then explodes. Number 1, laughing. Number 2 pushes number 1. What did I say? Asked number 2. Hey, when you're on my boat. This is legal, said number 1, laughing. The water is moving. The ground appears underneath the water, then breaks. 2 figures swim out of the ground. Get your fish, said number 2. Number 1 grabs a net, then puts it into the water. The net swipes a few fish carcasses. Look at these, said number 1, raising the net over the water. A Dunkleosteus jumps out of the water, then bites the net. Number 1 pulling onto the net. What the hell are you doing? Asked number 2. Something has the net. Help me. Grab the harpoon gun, said number 1. Number 2 grabs the harpoon gun. The boat gets bumps. Number 2 falls over the banister of the boat, then lands into the water. Man. Number 1 looks at number 2. Hey, I got you, man, said number 1, reaching out his left hand. Number 2 swims towards number 1, then gets pulled underneath the water. Blood appears. Number 1 gasps. A fin appears in the distance. Number 1 grabs the harpoon gun. A second fin appears behind the boat. Number 1 looks, then continuously points the harpoon in both directions. Both fins go underneath the water. Number 1 walks backwards, then stops at the back of the boat. The boat gets bumps. Number 1 falls over the banister in the back of the boat, lands in the water, resurfaces, then swims towards it. A Dunkleosteus appears in front of number 1. Number 1 stops. The second Dunkleosteus appears behind man. Number 1 then goes underneath the water. Number 1 screams, then gets pulled underneath the water. 2 fins appear, swim away, then go underneath the water. A truck appears. Alex Marshall appears, then places a box into the truck bed. Douglas Elliott appears carrying a box towards the truck. Another one? Asked Alex. Yeah, sorry that I have a few things, said Douglas. We're going to a cabin for 2 weeks. You only need clothes, said Alex. And some condoms too, brother, said Douglas, laughing, then walking away. Alex shakes his head. A car pulls up, stops, then turns off. Guadalupe, Kim and Johnny Becca appear. Hey Alex, are you ready yet? Asked Guadalupe. Not yet. Waiting for the hoarder, said Alex. Douglas approaches. Hey Guadalupe, Johnny, said Douglas. Hey Doug, said Johnny. Anything else? Asked Alex. Nope. That's the last of it, said Douglas. All right, let's get going. Everyone's gonna meet us at the cabin, said Guadalupe. All right, get in hoarder, said Alex. All four get into both the car and the truck. Both the car and the start, then drive away. A cabin appears. A van pulls up, stops, then turns off. The doors open. Jerome Hines, Joseph Tyler, Loretta Larson, and Maria Brown appear. Well, here's the cabin, said Jerome. Nice view, said Joseph. Ain't it? Said Loretta. Defiantly, said Joseph, looking at women in the lake. Loretta hits Joseph's right arm. Joseph smiles. Give me the key. I'll unlock the door. I also need to pee, said Maria. Jerome hands the keys to Maria. Maria runs towards the cabin, then unlocks the front door. The van hatch opens. Suitcases are being carried. Both the car and the truck are approaching. All three look. There. Here, said Joseph. Both the car and the truck stop, then turn off. The doors open, then shut. Need any help? Asked Loretta. No. We strongman got this, said Alex, smiling. A bedroom door opens. Both Jerome and Maria walk into the bedroom. A suitcase gets placed onto the floor, then opens. Dresser. Drawers open. Where do you want your stuff? Asked Maria. Inside you, said Jerome, kissing Maria's neck. Maria smiles. All right, where do you want your clothes? Asked Maria. On the floor, said Jerome, turning Maria around. Both Jerome and Maria are kissing, then laying onto the bed. Joseph clears his throat. Both Jerome and Maria look up at Joseph. There are other people in this cabin, so either stop what you're doing or close the door, said Joseph. Jerome closes the bedroom door, turns towards Maria, then smiles. A dock appears. Another boat appears. Rufus Walters and Vicky Buchanan appear. Rufus grabs a beer, then drinks it. Vicky laying on a towel. Hey babe, can you put some sunscreen on me? Asked Vicky. Sure babe, come over here, said Rufus. You come too. Me. Please, said Vicky. All right, I'm on my way, said Rufus, standing, then walks towards Vicky. Sunscreen gets squirted onto Vicky's stomach. Rufus rubs the sunscreen onto Vicky's stomach. Vicky, moaning. That feels good, said Vicky. Yeah, what about this? Asked Rufus, kissing Vicky. That feels good too, but the sunscreen feels better though, said Vicky. Rufus starts tickling Vicky. Vicky, laughing. A fishing line getting pulled on. The line, said Rufus, grabbing the fishing pole, then tries to turn the reel. Reel it in babe, said Vicky. I'm trying. This fucker's strong. Come on, come to daddy, said Rufus. You know, if you pull this fish in, I'll make your day even better, said Vicky, putting her hand onto Rufus's chest, then goes down his body. Rufus smiles. This is definitely mine then, said Rufus, struggling. The fishing line stops. Rufus tries moving the reel. The fishing line snaps. Rufus falls, then bumps into Vicky. Vicky falls into banister, then gets knocked out. Rufus groans, looks at Vicky, then crawls towards her. The boat gets bumped. Rufus stands up, walks towards the banister, then looks around. A figure swims past. Rufus looks closer. The figure swims past again. A fin appears in the distance. Rufus looks up, then his eyes widen. The fin goes underneath the water. The boat gets bumped. Rufus tries walking towards Vicky. The boat gets bumped. Rufus falls over the banister, then lands into the water. The water splashes. Rufus tries pulling himself up. The fin appears behind Rufus. Rufus grabs the second rail of the banister, then pulls himself up. The fin goes underneath the water. The boat gets bumped. Rufus loses his grip, falls into the water, then resurfaces again. Both fins appear, then approach Rufus. Rufus tries reaching for the banister rail again. The water splashing. Rufus goes underneath the water. Blood appears. Footsteps are walking. "All right, let's get to the lake and go swimming," said Alex. "Hell yeah," said Joseph. "I think I'll just stay here and read," said Loretta. Read on vacation." "Oh, come on. You could read when you're in English class." "Come on, Loretta. Let your titties hang out," said Joseph. "Shut up," said Loretta. "Come on, Loretta. It'll be fun," said Maria. "Fine, I could just read on the boat," said Loretta. All 8 are running out of the cabin, then towards the lake. Joseph runs onto the dock, then jumps into the lake. The water splashes. "Woohoo," said Jerome. "Come on, Doogie, take a swim," said Alex. "Nah, I'm good," said Douglas. "All right," said Alex, running, then jumping off the dock. Both Loretta and Maria are taking off their clothes, then appear in their bikinis. Loretta sits onto a chair, then pulls out a book. "Oh, really? No books for you," said Maria, grabbing the book. "Maria, give me the book," said Loretta. "You want the book? Go get it," said Maria, throwing the book. The book lands into the water. "Nice," said Loretta. "Oops," said Maria. "Well, looks like I'm going swimming," said Loretta, looking at Maria. Maria runs into the water. Loretta chases Maria. The water splashing. "Hey Doug, come on, pal," said Johnny. "I'm good. I'm gonna take a walk," said Douglas, starting to walk. All 7 splashing water at each other. Douglas walking. Grabs a rock, then throws it into the water. The water splashes. Douglas looks around at the lake, then walks away. A fin appears, then follows Douglas. Douglas stops, turns around, then continues walking. The boat appears in the distance. Douglas stops, then looks at the boat. Vicky appears, laying on the boat. Douglas sees Vicky, then walks away. Rufus's arm appears floating in the weeds of the lake. The second Dunkleosteus appears swimming. The water splashing. The second Dunkleosteus turns its head, then swims towards the splashing. Man number 3 and woman number 1 appear splashing water at each other. "Ow, something bit my leg," said woman number 1, being pulled underneath the water. Babe, said number 3, being pulled underneath the water. Blood appears. The second Dunkleosteus swims downstream. Loretta walking towards the land. "Hey, where are you going?" asked Joseph. "I need to pee. I'll be back," said Loretta, walking away. Both Jerome and Maria start kissing. "Hey, I have an idea. Let's come back tonight. Me and you alone," said Maria. "Great idea. That's why I love you. You're so smart," said Jerome. Johnny, standing on the dock, then stretches. All 5 are walking out of the water. "Hey, I'm gonna swim a few laps," I'll be up in a few, said Johnny. All right, have fun, said Guadalupe. All 5 continue walking away. Johnny jumps into the water, then starts swimming laps. The water splashes in the distance. Johnny stops, looks around, then continues swimming. The first Dunkleosteus appears, then swims towards Johnny. The fin goes underneath the water. The water splashes. Johnny stops again, then looks around. Hello? Is someone out here? Asked Johnny, gasping, then gets pulled underneath the water. The water splashing. Johnny resurfaces. Splashes, then goes back underneath the water. Blood appears. People looking around, then continue on. The fin appears, then goes underneath the water. The boat appears again. Vicky, groaning, opens her eyes, then holds her head. Rufus, Rufus, said Vicky, looking around. Douglas appears walking. Vicky sees Douglas. Hey, hey, over here, said Vicky. Yeah, what can I do for you? Asked Douglas. Have you seen my boyfriend? He was fishing and he caught a big fish. But the line snapped. And I got knocked out. I don't know what's going on, said Vicky. All right, stay there. I'll swim over to you, and we'll figure this out, said Douglas, taking off his boots, clothes, then jumping into the water. Vicky walks towards the back of the boat. The water splashes in the distance. Vicky looks, then sees a fin. The fin appears in distance. What the hell? Hey, hurry up, there's a shark coming, said Vicky. Douglas looks, sees the fin, then swims faster. The fin goes underneath the water. Douglas grabs the ladder, then climbs up. The second Dunkleosteus misses Douglas's leg, then swims away. Are you all right? Asked Vicky. I'm fine, said Douglas. What was that thing? Asked Vicky. I have no idea. But whatever it was, it looked big. All right, let's get you to land. Can you start the boat? Asked Douglas. I could try. The engine flooding. Come on, come on. The engine rumbles. Both Douglas and Vicky are laughing. All tight. Let's get going. My friends are down by the dock, said Douglas. Vicky looks at the gas meter. Oh no, said Vicky. What's wrong? Asked Douglas. There's no gas, said Vicky. Shit. What now? Asked Douglas. I don't know, said Vicky. Night falls. Guadalupe standing on the dock. Footsteps approaching. Maria giggling. Both Jerome and Maria stop. Hey Guadalupe, what are you doing out here? Asked Jerome. Just watching the stars. Plus, I was looking for Douglas. Have you seen him? Asked Guadalupe. I haven't seen Dougie since he went for his walk, said Jerome. I hope he's all right, said Guadalupe. He probably met a lady friend. And they're getting busy, said Jerome. Yeah, all right. I'm heading in. You two be safe in the water, said Guadalupe. Why do you think we were going into the water? Asked Maria. I overheard you earlier. Night, guys, said Guadalupe, walking away. Both Jerome and Maria laughing, then start kissing. Let's get into the water, babe, said Maria. Both Jerome and Maria take off their clothes, run onto the dock, then jump into the water. The water splashes. Both Jerome and Maria are laughing, then start kissing again. Maria takes off her bikini top, then throws it. Jerome takes off his boxers, then throws them. The boxers appear floating, then go underneath the water. Maria moaning. The first Dunkleosteus swims past both Jerome and Maria. Jerome looks around. Did you feel that? Asked Jerome. I always feel it. You're so big, said Maria. Jerome smiling. No, I swear something touched me, said Jerome. Like this? Asked Maria, putting her hand underneath the water. Jerome moans, then pulls Maria closer. Both Jerome and Maria continue kissing. The water splashes in their distance. Both Jerome and Maria look around. What was that? Asked Jerome. The water splashes in their distance again. A fin appears. Oh my God, it's a shark, said Maria. Get to the dock, said Jerome. Both Jerome and Maria are swimming towards the dock. The fin goes underneath the water. It's getting closer, said Maria, grabbing the ladder, then climbing up it. Jerome continues swimming, then reaches for Maria's left hand. The first Dunkleosteus bites Jerome's side. Jerome screams, then goes underneath the water. Maria looking around. Blood appears. Maria covers her mouth, stands up, turns around, then goes to walk. The second Dunkleosteus breaks through the dock in front of Maria. Maria screams, then falls into the water. The water splashing. Maria opens her eyes, then sees the second Dunkleosteus swimming towards her. Maria screams. The second Dunkleosteus bites Maria's head. The first Dunkleosteus swims past, then bites Maria's body. Maria gets torn in half. Both Douglas and Vicky are sitting next to the wheel of the boat. So, how long did you and your boyfriend date? Asked Douglas. Almost a year. He was rich. That's how he has a boat, said Vicky. You're one of those people, said Douglas. What people? Asked Vicky. Those that only want money, said Douglas. No, I'm not like that. I've known this guy for a long time. He was rich back then too. He asked me out a few times. Tries to buy me things. But I told him, and quote, if he ever wanted me, never give me or think of me as an object, and quote. So, after a while he changed his attitude towards women. Then, finally asked me out. Turns out, he was a great person to begin with. He only thought women liked him for his money. That's why he acted like that, said Vicky. Well, sorry for your loss. Sounded like a swell guy, said Douglas. What do we do? Asked Vicky. I have no idea. Douglas stands up. Maybe we could swim towards land, said Douglas. Are you crazy? Asked Vicky. Think about it. We haven't seen it in a while. Maybe it swam away, maybe upstream. Towards my friends, said Douglas. I'm not getting into that water, said Vicky. Well, we can't stay here. It'll find a way to get us. Or it'll just starve us out, said Douglas. Do you really think it's that clever? Asked Vicky. You never know. People may think animals are stupid. But they're a lot smarter than they look, said Douglas. All right, let's get to the land then, said Vicky. All right, I'll go first. Just go slowly, said Douglas, slowly going into the water, looks around, then nods his head. Vicky slowly goes into the water. Both Douglas and Vicky are slowly walking towards the land. The water splashes in the distance. Both Douglas and Vicky stop. Maybe we should get back to the boat, said Vicky. All right, slowly then, said Douglas. Both Douglas and Vicky slowly turn around. A fin appears in the distance. Shit, it's coming, said Vicky. Don't freak out. Just stay calm, said Douglas. The fin goes underneath the water. The first Dunkleosteus swims past both Douglas and Vicky. I don't think it saw us, said Vicky. I don't know about that, said Douglas. The fin reappears, then turns around. It's coming back, said Vicky, swimming towards the boat. Hey, said Douglas, following Vicky. Both Douglas and Vicky get to the boat, then climb up the ladder. The first Dunkleosteus swims past. Well, that was a good idea, said Vicky. I don't see you coming up with a plan, said Douglas. The first Dunkleosteus swims towards the boat. It's coming at us, said Vicky. Back up, said Douglas. Both Douglas and Vicky walk backwards. The first Dunkleosteus jumps out of the water, lands onto the boat, then tries biting both Douglas and Vicky. Vicky screaming. What do we do? Asked Vicky. Douglas looks to his side, then grabs a box. The lid opens. A flare gun appears. Douglas grabs the flare gun, loads, then fires it. The flare goes into the first Dunkleosteus's eye. The first Dunkleosteus snarls, then goes back into the water. The water splashes. Well, that worked, said Douglas. The first Dunkleosteus swimming then shakes its head. The flare falls out of the first Dunkleosteus's eye. Blood comes from the first Dunkleosteus. The second Dunkleosteus appears in the distance, swims towards the first Dunkleosteus, then bites it. The first Dunkleosteus getting torn apart. The second Dunkleosteus swims away. Got any other bright ideas? Asked Vicky. No, said Douglas. A cell phone starts ringing. Both Douglas and Vicky look at each other. Oh my God, my cell phone. Vicky runs, then grabs her purse. The purse opens. A cell phone appears. Hello, hello, you there? Hello? Damn it, said Vicky. What's wrong? Asked Douglas. I lost connection. Maybe I could make a call, said Vicky, holding the cell phone up, then walks around the boat. Any signal? Asked Douglas. None. There must not be a lot of towers out here, said Vicky. Not many, said Douglas. What are we gonna do? Asked Vicky. We're not gonna freak out. That's what happens in these situations. Don't worry. We're getting out of here alive, said Douglas. The boat gets bumped. Vicky falls into Douglas. Douglas falls over the banister of the boat, lands into the water, then resurfaces. Grab my hand, said Vicky. Douglas swims towards the boat, then goes underneath the water. Vicky sits back. Blood appears. The second Dunkleosteus swims away. Vicky starts crying. The sun rises. Both Joseph and Loretta walk outside. What a beautiful morning, said Joseph. It is, said Loretta. The bedroom door opens. Hey guys, have you seen Douglas? He didn't come back last night, said Alex. Oh, someone got lucky, said Joseph. Guadalupe walks outside. Hey, Guadalupe, have you seen Douglas? Asked Alex. Haven't seen him since yesterday. Have you seen Johnny, Maria, or Jerome? I know Jerome and Maria went swimming last night, but they haven't come back either, said Guadalupe. Neither did Johnny. Usually he swims a few laps, said Loretta. Let's go down to the lake and find out. Maybe they slept out here, said Alex. All four walk towards the lake, then see the broken dock. Jesus, look at this dock, said Guadalupe. What could have done this? Asked Joseph. I don't know, but whatever it was, it's huge, said Loretta. Joseph looks up, then sees a figure in the water. Hey, what's that? Asked Joseph. I don't know, said Alex. Joseph jumps into the water, then swims towards the figure. I hope whatever that is, it's all right, said Guadalupe. Loretta looks, then sees a fin go underneath the water. What was that? Asked Loretta. We're trying to figure that out, said Alex. No, I saw something go underneath the water. It looked like a fin of a shark, said Loretta. A shake in this lake. It would have had to have swam from upstream, said Alex. Some fish could do that, said Guadalupe. Joe, there's a shark. Shark, said Loretta. Joseph continues swimming, then stops. What? Asked Joseph. There's a shark, said Loretta. I'm all right. Don't worry, babe. Joseph swims towards the figure. The figure turns over. Jerome's body appears. Torn apart. Oh my God, said Joseph, swimming towards the land. Come on, Joe, said Alex. Joseph continues swimming. The fin reappears behind Joseph, then goes underneath the water. It's behind him, said Loretta. Joseph continues swimming, stops, then gets pulled underneath the water. All three are screaming. Joseph, Joe, said Loretta. Guadalupe holding Loretta. Joseph resurfaces, then coughs up blood. Joe, I'm coming, said Alex. Not with that thing out there, said Guadalupe. He needs help, said Alex. The second Dunkleosteus appears next to Joseph. Joseph looks at the second Dunkleosteus. The second Dunkleosteus bites Joseph. Loretta falls onto the dock. We need to call the authorities, said Alex. Definitely, said Guadalupe. You do that, I'm gonna go find Douglas. Maybe he was lucky enough not to go into the water, said Alex. Be careful. Come on, Loretta, said Guadalupe. Footsteps are walking. Alex looking around. And quat, Douglas, and quat, Douglas, and quat. Where the hell did you go? And quat, Douglas, and quat, Douglas, and quat, yelled Alex. Vicky appears. Sleeping, then hears yelling. Hey, over here, over there, said Vicky. Alex approaches, then sees Vicky on the boat. Hey, are you all right, ma'am? Asked Alex. Yeah, I'm so glad to see someone, said Vicky. I bet. Alex sees Douglas's clothes. Have you seen my friend Douglas? Asked Alex, holding up Douglas's clothes. Yeah, a guy was here. He tried to get me off this boat. But there's something in the water, said Vicky. You're telling me he's dead? Asked Alex. I think so. He got pulled underneath the water, said Vicky. Damn. All right, let's get you out of there and onto land, said Alex. I don't want to go into the water, said Vicky. It's the only way to get you out of the water. Don't worry, I'll come to you, said Alex. Don't. I don't want another person risking their lives for me, said Vicky. Ma'am, that's the only way we're getting you out of here, said Alex. I don't know about that, said Vicky. All right, how about if I come to you and I carry you to the land, said Alex. Vicky nods her head. Alex slowly walks into the water, then towards the boat. The water splashing. Both Alex and Vicky look, then see a fin. It's coming. You need to get back onto land, said Vicky. Don't worry, I'm fine, said Alex, slowly walking towards the boat. Vicky looks. The fin appears in distance. It's coming. Alex swims towards the boat, then climbs up the ladder. The second Dunkleosteus misses Alex's feet. Are you all right? Asked Vicky. I'm good, said Alex. Now you're stuck like your friend, said Vicky. Don't worry, my two other friends will help, said Alex, pulling out his cell phone. There's no signal, said Vicky. Not unless you have a way to boost the signal, said Alex, pressing buttons. A cell phone ringing. Guadalupe pulls out his cell phone. Yeah, what's up, Alex? Asked Guadalupe. Yeah, Guadalupe. I have a little problem, said Alex. Is it Douglas? Is he dead? Asked Guadalupe. Actually, I found his clothes only. And a woman? Stuck on a boat. Which is where I am right now. I found Douglas's clothes only, the woman said. And quot? Douglas got pulled underneath the water. And quot? I'm guessing he's dead, said Alex. All right. I'm on my way, said Guadalupe, hanging up his cell phone. Was that Alex? Asked Loretta. Yeah, he's stuck on a boat with a woman. He found Douglas's clothes. We believe he's dead. Come on, we're gonna save Alex, said Guadalupe. All right, my friends are on their way, said Alex. What are they gonna do? Asked Vicky. Don't know. Maybe call the authorities, said Alex. You should have done that, said Vicky. Alex presses buttons on his cell phone. The boat gets bumped. Alex falls into the banister, then drops his cell phone. The cell phone lands into the water. Damn, said Alex. The second Dunkleosteus swims past the boat. The boat gets bumped again. What's it doing? Asked Vicky. I believe it's trying to sink the boat, said Alex. Footsteps approaching. Both Guadalupe and Loretta appear. Hey, are you two all right? Asked Guadalupe. We'll be better once on land, said Alex. I brought a gun, said Guadalupe. To fight an underwater creature, said Alex. That makes sense, said Vicky. The boat gets bumped. We need to get off this thing, said Alex. The boat shifts. Hold on, said Loretta. Guadalupe loads the gun, then fires it. The water splashing. I think you got it, said Alex. Really? Said Guadalupe. No, you moron. You're shooting at the water, said Alex. The second Dunkleosteus swims towards the boat. The boat gets hit. A hole appears in the boat. The water starts rushing into the boat. Why's the boat slowly sinking? Asked Vicky. It must have made a hole. We need to get off this boat now, said Alex. The boat is slowly sinking. Both Alex and Vicky are standing at the wheel. Vicky looks up. The second Dunkleosteus swims toward the boat. It's coming, said Vicky. Guadalupe looks, then fires the gun. A bullet hits the second Dunkleosteus's fin. The second Dunkleosteus goes underneath the water. Where is it? Where is it? Asked Loretta. The second Dunkleosteus jumps out of the water, then hits the boat. The boat flips. Both Alex and Vicky land in the water. Guys, get out of the water. Both Alex and Vicky start swimming towards the boat. The second Dunkleosteus swims toward both Alex and Vicky. Guadalupe sees the second Dunkleosteus, then raises the gun. The gun clocks. Shit, said Guadalupe. Why now? Asked Loretta. Guadalupe jumps into the water, then starts splashing around. The second Dunkleosteus swims towards Guadalupe. Guadalupe, said Alex. Get onto the boat, said Guadalupe. The second Dunkleosteus bites Guadalupe. Guadalupe screams, then goes underneath the water. Guys, swim towards the land. Now's your opportunity, said Loretta. Both Alex and Vicky start swimming towards the land. The fin turns around. The second Dunkleosteus swims towards both Alex and Vicky. Shit. Here it comes, said Alex. Stopping. Vicky swims towards the land. Loretta helps Vicky up. Alex, said Loretta. Alex stares at the second Dunkleosteus. The second Dunkleosteus goes underneath the water. Alex goes underneath the water. No, said Vicky. Alex sees the second Dunkleosteus swimming towards him. The second Dunkleosteus opens its mouth. Alex pulls out a flare gun, cocks, then fires it. The flare goes into The second Dunkleosteus's mouth. The second Dunkleosteus swims past Alex, turns around, then swims towards him again. Alex's eyes widen. The second Dunkleosteus opens its mouth, slows down, then falls onto the ground underwater. Alex resurfaces. Alex, said Loretta. Is it? Asked Vicky. Dead. Laying at the bottom of the water, Alex swims, then climbs onto the land. The second Dunkleosteus resurfaces, then goes to bite Alex. A harpoon goes into the second Dunkleosteus's eye. The second Dunkleosteus goes underneath the water. All three look. Douglas appears holding a harpoon gun. Doogie, you're alive, said Alex. Yeah, the damn thing only bit me. I escape by grabbing a rock, then hitting it. It let me go. I ended up in the main water. Found a flipped boat. And this thing was there, said Douglas. Let's get out of here, said Alex. All four walk away. The end.